The moment the words left my mouth, 6 armed guards turned toward me at once, and I felt the air in the room drop 10 degrees. I am Owen Cole, and until that second, I was just a translator standing quietly in the corner of the grandest hall I had ever seen. My job was simple: listen to the alien delegates. Turn their words into English. Turn our words into theirs. Stay invisible. That was the plan. The plan died the instant my mouth moved faster than my brain. We were guests of the Caliph Dominion, a species that had ruled 4 star systems since before humans learned to write. Their leader, Queen Sha-Vren, stood at the center of the hall, taller than any human, her skin shifting color like liquid glass catching light. I was wearing a small earpiece that translated my words the second I spoke them, with almost no delay. It did not care if I meant to say something out loud or not. It simply translated whatever passed my lips. And what passed my lips, without any warning, was this: that color on her is stunning. I did not decide to say it. It just happened, the way a gasp happens when you touch something hot. 1 second I was watching the Queen's skin ripple through shades of deep violet and gold, and the next second, my private thought had become a public sentence, translated instantly into the native language of the most powerful being in the room. The silence that followed was not calm. It was sharp, the kind of silence that feels like a held breath before something breaks. Director Amara Whitfield, our lead ambassador, turned to look at me with an expression I will never forget. Her eyes were wide, her lips pressed into a thin line, as if she were watching a car about to crash and could do nothing to stop it. Beside her, a Caliph minister named Thren made a clicking sound with his jaw, fast and sharp, a sound I had studied in training. It meant alarm. It meant danger. I remembered, half a second too late, the warning drilled into every member of our team before we left Earth. Never comment on the physical appearance of a Caliph noble. Never speak directly about their body, their color, their form. To do so was seen as an act of claiming ownership, a deep insult reserved for enemies, not guests. I had just insulted the Queen of 4 star systems in front of her entire court. The guards near the walls shifted their weight, hands moving toward the weapons at their sides. I felt my heart slam against my ribs. My mind raced through every possible outcome, and none of them were good. I thought about my mother back on Earth, waiting for messages that might never come now. I thought about how strange it was that my last act as a free man might be an accidental compliment. Then the Queen raised one hand, and every guard in the room froze. She looked at me, her tall frame catching the light from the tall windows above us, her skin still shifting through colors I could not name. For a long moment, nobody moved. Nobody breathed. I stood there, waiting for the order that would end everything. Instead, she made a sound I had never heard from a Caliph before. It was short, sharp, and strange, and it took me a full second to understand what it was. She was laughing. Not the polite, formal hum the Caliph used during official meetings. A real laugh, sudden and unguarded, as if it had escaped her the same way my words had escaped me. Her skin brightened into a warm shade I had never seen described in any of our research, a color that shifted from deep violet to something closer to soft coral, spreading outward from her collar like a blush. Director Whitfield's mouth opened slightly, but no words came out. Thren's jaw stopped clicking entirely. The guards, still frozen from the Queen's raised hand, looked at each other in confusion. The Queen spoke directly to me, ignoring the ambassador completely, which I later learned was its own serious breach of protocol that she did not seem to care about at all in that moment. My earpiece caught her words and turned them into English almost instantly. "You said that without planning it," she said. "I could hear it in your voice. No one has spoken to me without planning their words in 400 years. I did not know what to say. Lying to an alien queen who ruled 4 star systems seemed like a worse idea than the mistake I had already made, so I told her the truth. "I am sorry," I said. "It was not meant as a claim over anything. Where I come from, Telling someone a color suits them is not about ownership. It is just something we say when we notice something good. The room stayed frozen, but the danger in the air had changed into something else, something closer to curiosity. The queen tilted her head, and her skin settled into a steady blue tone, a color I would later learn meant open interest, one of the few shades the Caliph considered unguarded and honest. "Explain this to me," she said. "Your kind notices things freely, without measuring rank first." So I explained, my voice shaking at first, then growing steadier as I spoke. I told her that humans complemented each other all the time, often without any hidden reason behind it. I told her that we told strangers we liked their coats, that we told friends their new haircut looked good, even when it was only average, because kindness mattered more to us than perfect accuracy. I told her that noticing something good about another person and saying it out loud was one of the smallest, most common things a human being did every single day, and that it cost us nothing, and that most of us did it several times before breakfast without even thinking about it. She listened without interrupting, her skin shifting slowly through shades I could not fully read yet. When I finished, she was quiet for a long moment, long enough that I started to worry I had said too much. Then she said something that surprised everyone in the room, including her own ministers. "For 900 years, everyone who has spoken to me has measured every word against my rank, my age, my power," she said. "No one has looked at me and simply said what they saw, without fear, without calculation." She turned toward Director Whitfield, who by that point looked like she was holding her breath so hard her face had gone pale. "I want this one to remain close to me," the Queen said, "meaning me. He speaks true things without asking permission first." I did not know how much I missed that until this moment. That is how, in the space of one accidental sentence, I went from a nervous translator standing quietly in the corner of a room to the first human ever given a permanent place inside the Caliph royal court. Not because I was the most skilled linguist on the team, not because I was the most careful diplomat, because I made a mistake, told the truth about it instead of hiding, and it turned out the most powerful woman across 4 star systems had spent 900 years surrounded by people too afraid of her to ever speak to her honestly. In the weeks that followed, I learned more about the Queen than any human before me. I learned that her shifting skin color was not just decoration, but a kind of open window into her feelings, one that most of her own people had trained themselves to hide from view out of respect, or fear, or both. I learned that when she asked her ministers for advice, they gave her only the answers they believed she wanted to hear, shaped and polished until nothing honest remained in them. I learned that she had grown so used to careful, empty words that she had almost forgotten what an honest one sounded like. She began asking me simple questions during our meetings. What did I think of her decisions? What did I think of the colors she wore that day? What did I think of the plans her council proposed? Each time, I gave her a real answer, sometimes gentle, sometimes direct, but always true. Each time, her skin shifted into that same steady blue, the color of open interest, the color of someone finally being heard without a mask standing between us. Word of what happened at that first dinner spread quickly through both our peoples. Some of my own team worried that my accidental slip had put the entire human mission at risk. Others believed it had done more good for our relationship with the Caliph than 100 careful, perfectly worded speeches ever could have. I think both were a little bit right. Director Whitfield still brings up that dinner in almost every briefing, usually right before reminding new arrivals, in a very tired voice, to read their cultural notes twice before speaking. I understand why she says it. I also understand that no amount of notes could have prepared me for what actually happened that night. The Queen still asks me, every time we speak, what I truly think, whether about her court, her choices, or the simple color she happens to be wearing that day. And every time, I answer the same way I did on that first frightening evening, without measuring my words first, without calculating what she might want to hear. It turns out that kind of honesty is rarer than any treasure across 4-star systems. Rarer than gold, rarer than power, and, as I learned that night standing frozen among armed guards, rarer than a queen who still remembers how to laugh.